The Grand Tour's executive producer Andy Willman has addressed the nightmare the crew had filming the new special, Lochdown, for the Amazon Prime Video series. The Grand Tour hosts Jeremy Clarkson, 61, James May, 58, and Richard Hammond, 51, ventured to the Outer Hebrides for the Lochdown special, filmed in the midst of the coronavirus pandemic. The creative team behind the show not only had to ensure the highest health and safety protocols were followed, but they had a nightmare trying to construct the finale sequence for the episode. Detailing his reaction, Andy explained filming the final scene of the Amazon Prime Video series was completely out of the crew's skill set. In the 90-minute episode, the trio of presenters are seen cruising the ever-changing terrains of the Outer Hebrides. Towards the end of Lochdown, Jeremy and Richard watch as James drives his vehicle over a man-made platform. Astonished, the duo are amazed their co-star stays afloat while the platform sinks as he's driving atop of it. This was a logistical nightmare for the crew, as Andy explained in an exclusive interview with Express.co.uk. The executive producer said, "Once all the COVID protocols were established, you were then free to do as you would do. So didn't have to compromise that in any way. I mean, were there tricky scenes to do? The finale one was a frigging nightmare to do that," Andy continued. The executive producer added, "It really was, because that is outside our skill set, and that water was 30 foot deep. That was tricky. Not technically tricky filming, but tricky to do," he shared. But following rules to ensure coronavirus didn't get on set was also a challenge. Andy explained the team needed to get back on track after the first lockdown last year, stating, "So we got stuff to do, to keep the lights on in the office, give ourselves something to do and give the fans something to watch. It was all pragmatic in that way. Then once we decided we were going to do it and Amazon gave us the green light and the money, it was then a case of how," Andy added. "Because COVID-wise, everything was a nightmare. You couldn't get any insurance for film shoots at this point. So if one person gets COVID in a group, and the shoot shuts down, everything you spent has gone down the bog. There was nothing you could do. So, there was a sort of list of protocols that Amazon had come up with that you had to follow. They were incredibly strict to keep you on the road. They still weren't going to give you insurance, but it was your best chance of getting to the finish line," the executive producer said. "And was so complex. Once I got in a car on our convoy, that's my seat and that's it for the rest of the shoot. I can't go in anybody else's car, can't go near them, can't touch anyone else's door, all that kind of stuff. You had to take the whole hotel out wherever you went, and we had to build a mobile COVID testing unit that came with us, and they would test all 50 crew. And then you're waiting and it never happened. We got through to the end. So it was a tortuous thing and quite a stressful thing in that way," the executive producer added. "But the film was a great thing to make. Separating from all the practical stuff, it was great. It was a great experience to do." Fans have been enjoying streaming the new episode, with one writing on Twitter, "If you haven't watched them in these endeavors, you're missing out on a laugh, a minute #Lochdown #Massive Hunt #Grand Tour." Whilst a second posted, "I already miss #Lochdown and #Grand Tour. 'Twas another brilliant special. Is it just me or did Jeremy's sign-off make you emotional and a little sad?"